Will Ruben Amorim's stubbornness, man, will his stubbornness be his downfall? There's reports saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe believes that this Man United squad that's been assembled is good enough to reach the Champions League, whether you believe that or not. That's what he believes. So therefore, he's saying if that is not reached, or it's looking untenable, or it's looking unreachable, then the manager has questions to answer, which obviously is the case. There's also reports from behind the scenes that the players are losing faith in his methods or losing faith in his system, etc., etc. And there's been other reports saying that, Ruben has sort of thought about it before, about having one foot out, the other foot in. He's told us that in public, that sometimes he feels that that's the ups and downs of what he's going through. But the biggest question is Ruben choosing to stand on business, or should I say continuing to be stubborn with this approach? Is that going to be the downfall? It would suggest that it is, because he's telling us, I won't change. You have to change me. Is he taking on Ineos? Is he challenging Ineos? Is he saying, come on then, if you want me to leave, get rid of me because I'm not changing. If you want me to change, then you just have to get rid of me. Is he going to change as well? When is he going to change? He did also say, I'll change when I want to change. When is that? So it's all going off, man. And the media are having a field day. There's things coming out behind the scenes of players losing faith in this, that, and the other. So much to get into today. It's just this continuation, isn't it? It's what happens when I saw Gary Neville say this on his Gary Neville podcast. He said, I've seen this before. I've seen this before. I've watched this film. I've seen this before. It's Manchester United side. I've seen this and I'm worried. Now, Gary Neville he always does the thing of, I'm not advocating to him to be set. He's going to be way more diplomatic. But even if into himself behind we're speaking with, Roy Keane behind the scenes, he'd probably go, I got no clue. But Gary Neville's so Gary Neville that obviously he's never going to be like, he never says Manchester gets that. But when he starts going, listen, I don't want to talk about systems, but just the results alone. We said last year, if Man United get to October, November and they're still 14, 15, Manchester's going to be in trouble. And he's saying, I've seen this before. Like you said, we know how this movie ends.
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking good, Flex. It's not looking good. But what can look good is yourself. As you mentioned, it's all going off, with Manchester United. The discussion continues. The fallout continues of the Manchester derby. And some interesting reports yesterday. Now, some of it is a bit, paint by numbers in terms of this is what it's always like with Manchester United after a defeat, or as you mentioned, Gary Neville mentioned, we've seen this movie before. It feels like it's heading in that direction. Some interesting tidbits that came out overnight, though. This came from Sully Talks ITK on Twitter, saying that figures within the club believe Ruben Amorim's refusal to change, his stubbornness will get him sacked. One source said he's had one foot out the door this season and made it clear yesterday that he will not change his system. He's threatened to walk before. So people suggesting that's still not impossible, that he could just decide he's had enough. Ben Jacobs also saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, as you mentioned, Flex, feels the Manchester United squad is good enough to qualify for the Champions League this season, and that Ruben Amorim's job security will be more seriously discussed if the side is not on course for European football as the season progresses. Once again, you then asked the question of when is that point? Because, for example, this was a graphic that came up from Sky yesterday, and I showed you this, didn't I, Flex? I sent it to you. That Premier League table is since Ruben Amorim's first game, and it includes all teams that have been present across the 2 seasons in the Premier League. So last season and this season. So obviously your newly promoted teams or your relegated teams aren't included in that. Of the teams that have been in the Premier League across the 2 seasons, since Ruben Amorim's first game for Manchester United, we are bottom of that table. Since Ruben Amorim's come in, any team that's not newly promoted or relegated, we are the worst out of it. The worst.
I'm in the mode of seeing stats where I'm already like, oh, that showed me this or that showed me that. So I'm kind of not surprised. But again, to reinforce, to hit home about how bad it actually is under Ruben. Just look. I don't even need to say the words of like trying to gaslight. I'll just say, just look at that. Just look at it.
It's
Just look at it, man.
unbelievable.
Like
It's
that's why I'm
unbelievable.
like, I don't know what the conversation's about anymore. Like, I don't know what. Yeah, but you know, you need this and the right players, and you do need pay. You do need. You need to not be bottom of the table, up
Would be
taking out the
wild flex.
relegation teams in
You would
31
think.
games.
You would think, like, if he was, say, on that table, like 11th, where Everton are or something like that, there would still be these conversations of, yeah, that's not really good
Yeah,
enough. But then it would be like, well, there's something to hold on to there. You know, you go, it's
exactly.
not terrible. We are better than some people. Like we're the worst. Like there's not even, like, we are the worst. And the team above us, Spurs, they changed their manager because it wasn't good enough, and they won a trophy. They're in the Champions League, and they were like, look, this isn't it.
We can't
So
do this.
yeah, and I saw when that table went out yesterday, there was a bit of pushback to it, going, this is not fair. You're focusing on last season all over again, and last season was a write-off. But even if you look at the Premier League table as it is now, after 4 games, we're 14th. We're exactly where we were last
This
season. There has been,
defensive thing
like I
we've
said,
got.
there's
It's
been
no
no
sense.
change, is there? I mean, if
No.
I guarantee, if after last season finished and we went, right, season's over, we finished 15th, it's our worst Premier League season ever. If you'd have said to everyone, what happens if we have our worst start to a Premier League campaign the beginning of next season, you'd go, well, obviously then he's going to have to go. But that's not going to happen, right? But it's happened.
Yeah.
It's happened. It's happened. At least, and this isn't even revisionism, but at least with Eric Ten Hag, when those people that are backing him to the end, I got it in the sense of people were going, like, look at the trophies, right? Look at the trophies. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, he did get in the top 4 once, there you go. At least with Ollie, and people were hanging on to that, and they were going, yeah, but he finished in the top 4 more consecutively, more often than anyone else. Yeah, he didn't win a trophy, but some of our best football. I go, right, I get it. There's something to hold on to there. With Jose, people point to the trophies again. Look at the trophies, so hold on to that and look at his record. All right, I got that. There's nothing to hang on to here. Like there's nothing to hold on to. And the things that we are holding on to are still defeats. We're holding on to sections of games against, say, like Arsenal, and we go, yeah, but that Arsenal performance, that was a loss. There was a loss. We're not even holding on to wins, because we can't even hold on to that Burnley win because it was last minute. And even that, we sort of hold on to the first half. We go, well, we played
Yeah. Yeah, because second half was rubbish. Not rubbish, but like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't what the first half was, where you go, you should have been outside.
Yeah,
you
we have to
conceded
hold
2
on to
goals
stuff
against Burnley in the second half.
That's just not there. It just isn't. And I kind of said this yesterday on the red carpet, because we went down a bit of a rabbit hole yesterday with like the Ugarte stuff, and James going, no, it's not, it wasn't that bad, blah, blah, blah. I'm sort of like, well, we have to kind of take a step back from the individuals. And yeah, we can look at certain goals like against City, and you can go, oh yeah, Luke Shaw for that one, or Harry Maguire for that one. But it's bigger than that, isn't it? It's bigger than, and as we've seen, we move individuals out, when we're still the same. Rashford's gone, Garnacho's gone, and obviously the people that we've replaced them with, I do think they are good replacements, but it's still like we're still the same. Like we're still the same.
That's where some people do say
into the system,
yeah,
and
that's where some people say, well, it can't just all be the manager. Like the institution is obviously broke because every single player that comes here, fails. And again, I say it again, like Ruben is not the sole problem at Man United. No one manager has ever been. No one player has ever been, But we start confusing the two when things that were brought in to help it end up being part of it directly. So I think now Ruben's directly part of it because of the lack of flexibility, the lack of wanting to change things. The system just doesn't work. We're getting found out. Everything tells us we're getting found out. So I think now he gets added into one of many of the issues now. That's not to say he's a horrible man and this is all his fault. And, I don't necessarily share the sentiment of, I don't get into the insults and you clueless prat, you fool. I ain't got time for all of that. I'll just look at what it is and saying, what has he done to help it? And there's nothing that he's done that I can look at to say, that's improved, that's improved, that's improved. That's something to take and move forward with. Nothing. There isn't.
Yeah,
There isn't.
and the reason why it's really, really, deflating and defeating. I mean, I still see some people in the chat going, "What happened to time and this, that, and the other?" We want to talk about time. We're nearly a year removed from when Eric got sacked, right? And it is.
And we've got more questions than answers.
Well, it's Groundhog Day again.
It's exactly the same as it was last season, whereby, we go into a preseason off the back of a really bad season, and we're like, all right, okay, what's going on here? So even then, there were questions about Amorim's future, like, is he going to walk or no? Ineos are backing him, they're giving him money, right? All right, give him money, and then we go, okay, last season was just a dip. Things are settled now. Good transfer window, and then a few games into the season, we realized that actually it's kind of the same. Some performances are better than others, but it's largely the results are the same. And we're going into these short gaps between international breaks and going we're already predicting which international break is he going to go. Basically, we're like, is it going to be this one? Is it going to be that one? Like, as Gary Neville said, we've seen this story before. We've seen it. We've seen where this direction is going, don't we? And that's the frustrating thing about it. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is anymore. What I do know is that even that isn't a rebuild.